90% of SaaS companies die after product market fit, and it has nothing to do with their product. Most SaaS founders think product market fit is the finish line. In SaaS, it's not. It's your starting line. Because once you hit early traction, something strange happens. Revenue starts to slow. Growth feels unpredictable. You're working more hours, but the curve flattens. For a lot of teams, this shows up at the same milestone, around $1 million a year in recurring revenue. Here's the mistake most founders make. They assume the problem is marketing. I know this. I run a marketing company. I own a few SaaS businesses myself. So what do I see most people do? They launch more ads. They hire a growth marketer. They test new channels. They tweak funnels. They hope something unlocks. But the real bottleneck usually isn't even traffic. It's the absence of a system. Early stage SaaS can grow on heroics. The founder closes sales. The founder runs onboarding. The founder fixes edge cases. Decisions get made in real time based on instinct. That works until it doesn't. At around 1 million ARR, the business becomes too complex for gut-filled decisions, but it's still too fragile to survive the chaos that it brings. This is where most startups stall, not because the product suddenly got worse, not because demand disappears, not because the market shifts overnight. They simply stall because nothing is standardized. Sales is improvisational, onboarding is inconsistent, and retention depends on good customers instead of what you should have, process. So growth becomes random. 1 month looks great. The next month is confusing. Forecasting starts to feel like guessing again. And that's the real danger. When growth feels random, founders start making expensive moves to fix it. More spend, more hires, more tools, without ever identifying what's actually broken. And here's the truth that breaks through. It's the system. You stop optimizing tactics and you start engineering revenue. That shift means 3 things. First, you build a predictable acquisition engine. Not, we try a few channels. Not, we'll post more and see. Not, let's boost some ads. Yeehaw! A real engine means you know your numbers. You know how many leads turn into demos. You know how many demos turn into customers. You know your close rate, cycle length, and cost to acquire. And when one number drops, you know exactly where the leak is. You need your KPI dashboard. Second, you create a repeatable activation flow. Most churn doesn't happen because the product is weak. It happens because users never reach the aha moment. They sign up, they click around, they get busy, they never experience a real win, so they don't build the habit. They don't feel the value, and they leave. A strong activation flow gets people to value fast, with fewer decisions, fewer dead ends, and fewer moments where they think, what do I do now? Third, you design retention on purpose. Design retention with a purpose. Because scaling doesn't come from more customers, it comes from keeping the ones you already paid for. That means lifecycle messages that drive usage, triggers when engagement drops, and customer success signals that warn you before churn actually happens, not after. This is the shift most SaaS founders miss. They keep playing offense when the real game is infrastructure. Once these systems exist, scaling stops feeling chaotic. Growth becomes boring, predictable, repeatable. That's when 1 million ARR stops being a ceiling and starts becoming a floor. I'll tell you what, boring and predictable sound great in your back pocket. And less chaos, just saying. So if you're stuck there right now, don't ask, what tactic should I try next? Ask this instead. What system is missing from my business? Because the companies that break through aren't doing more. They're doing it the same way every single time. Subscribe for more real breakdowns just like this.